The forest was eerily quiet. No wind, no rustling leaves, not even the usual chirping of insects. As we stepped deeper into the woods, I could feel it, an unnatural stillness hanging over the trees, like the entire place was holding its breath. And then there was a feeling, the feeling of being watched. The camping trip begins. It was supposed to be a simple weekend camping trip, me, my best friend Liam, and our group of 6 others. The plan was to hike deep into Black Hollow Woods, set up camp near the lake, and enjoy a couple of nights away from the city. We had read about the legends before. Strange sightings, people going missing. Some even claimed to hear whispers at night. But that was just folklore. Campfire stories meant to scare tourists. At least, that's what we thought. By the time we reached our campsite, the sun had already dipped behind the horizon, leaving streaks of deep orange and purple in the sky. The trees stood tall around us, their silhouettes stretching like twisted shadows in the dimming light. Liam dropped his backpack and stretched. This is perfect. No phone signals, no distractions. Just us and nature. Yeah, I muttered, glancing around. The air felt heavy. Something about this place felt wrong. The first sign, as we started setting up our tents, Ryan, one of the guys, wandered off to gather firewood. About 15 minutes later, he came back, looking pale. There's something out there, he muttered. Liam scoffed. Dude, don't start with the scary stories already. Ryan shook his head. I'm serious. I saw something moving between the trees. It wasn't an animal. We followed his gaze toward the darkening forest. Nothing but shadows. Probably just your imagination, Liam said, brushing it off. But Ryan was shaking. No, it was watching me. I didn't know it then, but that was the first warning. We should have left right then. The campfire stories turned real. That night, we sat around the fire, the flames crackling against the cold night air. The only light came from our flickering lanterns and the eerie glow of the moon above. All right, let's get the ghost stories rolling, Liam grinned, rubbing his hands together. Ryan hesitated. Maybe we shouldn't. Oh, come on. You're not still freaked out, are you? Liam teased. Ryan didn't answer. Instead, he kept looking over his shoulder, watching the tree lean. I didn't blame him, because by then, I felt it too. That suffocating sensation that someone or something was watching us. But from where? The forest was pitch black beyond the campfire's glow. The shadows stretched long and deep, shifting with every flicker of the flames. Then we heard it. A branch snapped. Not far from us. A chill crawled down my spine. It's probably just an animal, I whispered. Ryan turned to me, his voice barely audible. That's what I thought too, until I saw its eyes. Something in the dark. The fire flickered as the wind picked up, carrying with it an eerie silence. We sat frozen listening. Then came the whisper, low, almost like the wind, but not quite. Come closer. I felt my heart stop. Liam's face went pale. Did you hear that? No one moved. Then footsteps, slow, deliberate, crunching against the dry leaves. And that's when I saw them. 2 glowing eyes staring at us from the trees. Not an animal, not human, something else. Something that had been watching us all along. The eyes in the dark. The fire crackled, casting flickering shadows around us. But none of them moved the way those eyes did. They weren't reflections. They weren't some trick of the light. They were watching us. Liam's breathing was ragged beside me. Ryan was gripping his flashlight, so tight his knuckles had gone white. Then the eyes blinked, and they moved. Closer, paralyzed by fear. Run, Ryan whispered. No one moved. The footsteps were slow, deliberate. Whoever, or whatever, wasn't in a hurry. It wanted us to see it first. A shape began to emerge from the shadows. Tall, unnaturally thin, its movements wrong, like a puppet with its strings cut. The firelight barely reached its form, but I could make out something disturbing. Its head tilted unnaturally to one side, like it was studying us. That's when the stench hit us. Rot, decay, something old and dead. I gagged, stumbling backward. Then it spoke, not in words, not in a language. It was a whisper, low, crawling into my head, into my bones. Come closer, the chase begins. That was it. Ryan screamed and bolted. Panic erupted. Liam grabbed my arm, yanking me to my feet. Move! We ran. Branches lashed at my face as we tore through the woods. The campfire shrinking behind us. My lungs burned, my heartbeat hammering in my ears. But the worst part, the footsteps behind us never changed pace. It didn't need to run. It knew we wouldn't escape. Lost in the forest, we ran until our legs couldn't carry us anymore. Somewhere along the way, we had lost the others. It was just me, Liam, and Ryan, stumbling through the darkness, gasping for breath. What the hell was that? Liam wheezed. Ryan shook his head violently. I don't know, but we have to. A branch snapped behind us. We all turned. The trees swayed gently, the wind whispering through the leaves. But the forest felt wrong, like something was breathing with it. Then we saw them, not one, many, eyes, dozens of them, surrounding us in the dark, and they were getting closer. The hollow voices. Then came the voices, not from one place, not from one mouth, from all around us. Come closer, come closer, come closer. Each one was different, some deep, some hollow, some sounded like us. I felt something icy crawl up my spine. They weren't just mimicking speech. They were mimicking us. Liam grabbed my wrist. We need to keep moving. Ryan's eyes darted between the shadows. Where? They're everywhere. I swallowed hard, trying to steady my shaking hands. We had two options: run and risk getting lost deeper into the forest, or stay and see what happened next. The answer was obvious. We ran, and that's when we heard Jason scream. Jason, the guy who had gone missing the night before. His voice was coming from ahead of us. But we knew the truth. Jason was gone, and whatever was waiting for us up ahead wasn't him.